Welcome back to Beards and Brews. This week's review is going to be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Fellas, there are some strange things afoot at the Circle K.
Okay, that line, that was probably my biggest laugh for the whole movie, was just that line.
This whole movie is basically Keanu reacting to everything around him.
Whoa!
100%, that's correct.
Okay, gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. I am not a fan of Keanu Reeves, and although I fit, like I should have seen this movie already, I hadn't. Probably because I don't really like Keanu Reeves.
I do not like early Keanu Reeves. I didn't really get into his work until Speed. I thought he was good in that. Everything kind of before that, Point Break even, I was just like, I could have done without him in that film, even though it's iconic now, and much like Dracula with him, the man himself, he's grown young again.
Yeah.
He was the worst part of that film.
I think Keanu's early Californian surfer bullshit, whatever, works the absolute best in this movie, because that's what he is. He's a dumb California kid.
Yeah, he's a bro man dude. Whoa!
He is smart enough, though, to know that he doesn't know anything.
I feel like he got a little bit of a little bit of Socrates in there.
You're probably
Socrates.
right. But this movie starts out, we've got George Carlin, which, first of all, I didn't know George Carlin was in this. A very welcome addition.
Not to intrude or anything, but this movie starts out with I Can't Break Away by Big Pig. And man, the intro to this movie is fucking cool.
You talking about the giant ring pop floating down out of the ceiling?
Yeah, it's just something just fucking totally 80s about that. It's just so unapologetic. It's like, well, we want to do this effect. How much we got? Well, we paid Keanu completely in Kit Kat, so we have plenty of money, but we're not going to spend it on the shot.
Yeah, it reminded me of Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
There's a little bit of that, yeah. I'll tell you what this movie reminded me most of. Dude, Where's My Car? I got a lot of Dude, Where's My Car vibes from this movie. But this movie is like, I don't want to put this in the same class. This movie I enjoyed far more than Dude, Where's My Car?
As I mentioned before the podcast, this movie balances the stupidity on both sides. Like, it's intended stupidity and it's non-intended stupidity. Because this movie's dumb. Like, this movie's just haphazard and dumb sometimes. But it's not full of itself. It's not like Dude, Where's My Car, where it's like, man, it's Ashton Kutcher. He's a funny guy. He just did something funny. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Laugh at it.
Yeah, it's just very well paced and just like, it's totally cool.
Whoa!
On that note, I got some Wayne's World vibes out of it too.
Which one was first, this or Wayne's World?
This one.
If I had to pit Wayne's World versus this, then this can get out of Shrek's swamp any day.
Huh. So you married an axe murderer. That's also
So you gave up bacon.
pork.
So we get introduced to this movie by George Carlin. He gives us a little introduction. Welcome to the future. It's the year 2088 or something like that. And things are great. And it's all because of, 100 years ago, the great ones were into some trouble and we helped them out, the great ones.
Yeah, those great ones turn out to be fucking Bill S. Preston, Theodore Logan, Spartan Talk, Hulk Hogan. That's for the audience.
And these are basically your Southern California slacker kids, teenagers, want to start a metal band. They cut class a whole lot, not very smart. They're,
Yeah.
It's got a half shirt, and they got the other one in a vest at all times.
Yeah.
He gets a little cold, whatever. He's chill. But the thing is, like, they're obviously just, like, dumb. Like, unabashedly just dumb. But their circle logic is so entertaining when they try to figure something out. It's like, we need this. No, we can't have this unless we have this. But if we have this, we can have this. But this is the first thing we brought up, so we need that. Whoa.
Yes, that is the film in a nutshell.
Especially towards the end, when they're at the police station, it's like, oh man, if we only had this, how about later we just time travel and have this? Oh, here that is. Man, we're good smart.
Dude, that's the most brilliant way to fill plot holes. Well, how are they going to get out? Well, they need the keys. Well, how do they got the keys? Time travel. Okay.
Just do it at some point ahead of now and just say they did it.
We have to show it? No. Whew, man, we
Yeah.
just saved 10 Kit Kats.
Oh man, I did steal my dad's keys.
That was almost Arnold. No!
You stole my father's keys. Yeah, to a tank.
Oh, God. Imagine, like, peak Arnold just being Ted and
Oh.
still Alex Winter.
You look at Napoleon. You're so tiny.
But yeah, these kids are in history class, and as we said, they're not bright. We find out that if they don't pass their final oral report tomorrow, then they're going to flunk out of school, and eventually we'll find out that Ted, his dad's going to send him off to Alaska for military school.
Yeah. Now, the teacher is one of the great things about this movie because there's so much absurdity in this movie. And, like, the auxiliary characters, minus, like, the historical ones, they're still kind of grounded. Like, that I could totally believe that guy was about to ruin those kids' future just because they're just a bunch of fucking slackers. Just fuck them, whatever.
For sure.
And these kids are fucking moronic. And it's generational humor. So if you were around back in those times, the early 80s, whoa, bro, those were the fun ways to do things. And seeing it, it's, it can still put a smile on your face if you're into that easy humor. Again, had I probably not been watching this from a, reviewing standpoint, I may have been a little more slack on it. But my first question was immediately, how the fuck have they made it this far?
George W. Bush.
I'm just going to say, my brother is real dumb. I hope he's not listening, but my brother is real dumb. And he graduated high school, so I get it.
Hey, no, you kind of slipped through the cracks. Maybe that was the thing. Maybe that was the first teacher.
No,
Kinda
not
just like-
slipped through the cracks. Pushed through the cracks.
And now he's on crack. Man, that's a weird circle.
Yeah.
But no, like, maybe that's the reason why they kind of got that far. They get caught up with his teacher, because he's the only one kind of sticking it to them. Maybe not in a hateful sense, but kind of like to get them kick-started and maybe just trying to learn without being like a couple of dipshits. Because shortly thereafter, Ted's dad was just like, I spoke to your teachers and you're flunking history. I guess all his other classes are fucking on par for the course, so...
He's got a D- and everything else, and his dad's like, thumbs up.
D's get degrees.
T's get degrees, alright.
Yeah.
San Dimas football rules! Woo!
Yeah! D's get degrees, and stepmoms got double D's.
That
Oh,
stepmom is fine, ain't she?
What's her name? Sissy or something like that? Some 80s name?
Missy.
Missy. Yeah, that is 80s.
That's so fucking weird. That
Sorry,
whole
Missy.
thing.
I mean, Mom.
Yeah, and then like they're hanging out in Bill's room, and the dad just like, okay, Phyllis gotta go to the mall because there's a mall. See you later. And he just fucking goes to town in his kid's room. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and the weirdest part is Bill is like, do you remember when I asked her to prom? And then the dad is sitting there and he's like, yep. And she walks in with all these burnt-ass grilled cheeses. They're staring at her tits. He's staring at her ass. They get up and leave, and then he's going to plow her in the kid's room with him aware of it. And Keanu Reeves just is like, your mom's hot. And he's like, shut up! And then he just smiles.
I guess to quote Ferris Bueller, ow, ow.
Nice.
But for clarification's sake, she was a senior when they were freshmen, so there's not a whole lot of difference in age there. So it's not that weird for them. It's a little bit weird for the, 50, 55-year-old man.
I guess that's like his midlife crisis. Just fucking going crazy or something like that.
I guess. So the next stop is this where they go to the Circle K, the old Circle K?
Yeah, like after we find out that Bill's dad is just fucking lusting over that chick, and then Ted's dad's kind of a piece of work, they're like, okay, what do? Let's work on our history project outside the local Circle K, which is like your, I guess, San Dimas 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I completely identified with this. I used to hang out in front of the 7-Eleven on my block.
But strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Like, this poor lady is just trying to go to work, and Keanu Reeves like, hey, do you know when Genghis Khan ruled whatever? And she's like, listen.
I just work here.
She turns around, and there's fucking old Bill with his dick tucked going, doo.
Why does that keep coming back?
What?
Fucking-
Was this the director's cut?
He's
Would
pulling
you-
a back, Bill.
Would you fuck me?
Buffalo Bill and Ted.
No.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. And then, like, Ted's like, whoa.
Put the lotion
Yeah.
in the basket, dude.
Like the lotion comes down on a little basket. Most triumphant. Rubs it in.
Yes. And then, like, the lady's trying to walk into the Circle K. Do you know when Genghis Khan took over the whatever? No. Oh, you a size 13? Whoa!
I can still see George Carlin pulling up in a telephone booth, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And he walks out and says, "Hey, lady, I can smell your cunt."
Oh, no!
Oh.
And then George Carlin would have to look directly at the camera and just, hit sideways head like, huh?
He's just like, hey kids, this is kind of weird, isn't it? Don't worry. In the future, everybody fucks everybody.
So the skies part, telephone booth comes flying out of the sky, and out comes George Carlin, if you can't figure that out already. And this is where the plot starts to plot.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like, these kids, if they fail, they'll be separated forever, and they won't go on to be these godlike figures in the future, which saves the world, grants world peace, cures cancer, whatever.
All because of their band, Wild Stallions.
Which may or may not feature Eddie Van Halen. That's briefly touched upon.
They're working on it.
It does feature two princesses brought back from the medieval times.
Well, like the
Oh,
rest
yeah. So yeah, George Carlin just like nonchalantly just walks up to these fellas. He's like, hey, listen, you guys are a big deal in the future. You know what? You should come with me. We'll travel through time and have like a grand old fucking evening. But hey, guess what? They're your doppelgangers. They're already traveling through time because that's the future. And this is now.
Yeah, they're you here in, a few hours or so. Listen to what they say, because they're you.
How do I know they're me, bro? What number are you thinking?
69!
69.
Eric, just a note, you're going to have to input a lot of the little guitar sound, just like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times through the whole thing.
Like, dude, way ahead of you.
Yeah. So they get this idea, the way to pass history and stay together, they're going to go through time and grab all these big names, these big leaders, these important figures throughout history. Oh, George Carlin, I don't even remember what his character's name was.
Rufus.
Rufus takes him back to, what, Austria, 1805?
Austria. 1805.
And then a quick cut to stock footage because they couldn't afford all these extras in the background.
And thank God.
When you get to meet each individual historical character, they all have cool little like startup things or whatever. So they land in Austria, and they're just like, "Whoa, fucking Austria, whatever." And Napoleon spots them immediately. He's like, "Huh," blows them up.
Yes. And they're like, what's up, dude? Hanging out of the fucking TARDIS. And then he gets blown up
There it is.
and shakes down into the TARDIS and is then transported back into time with them and lands in a tree, unbeknownst to anyone else.
As a fan of like time travel movies, time travel in this movie, it's kind of just thrown into the wind or whatever because this very, very important man has just been stolen from time. They didn't want to take Napoleon with them. He just so happened to get caught up into this mix. And when they land back in San Dimas, he drops out of a tree and they're just like, huh, let's kidnap this man.
I kind of think Rufus knew. Just
All
like,
the-
yeah.
They're just in the booth or whatever, and in parentheses the subtitles just like French screaming. Or screaming in French.
Oh, sacre bleu!
Yeah, it's totally one of those things to where he just looked, saw him, and then just in his head was Carl. It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
And the movie really starts to take off at this point with just Pokemon Historical Figure Edition.
Gotta catch
Gotta
them all.
catch them all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But not
No,
before they
somebody's-
tuck Napoleon into bed and, just for safekeeping. Like, hey, little brother, watch Napoleon Bonaparte while we go back in time.
Oh man, his brother has one of the greatest lines in the whole movie. So spoilers, like they kind of hang out with him just to waste time or whatever, while the two dudes are just doing excellent things, and they fucking ditch him. And then when the guys found out that they did, the kid was just like, "What? He was a dick.
Yeah.
He didn't fucking do anything. He was just trying to exist."
Yeah, he was like when they ditched him, the dude was literally trying to learn to bowl. He just wasn't good.
No, he was cheating too. Like he was just like, oh, nobody's gonna notice if I just gain 100 points right here.
I mean, that was his Waterloo.
Not yet. No, we'll get there.
New Mexico, 1879.
Some poor old cowboy's taking a cow pie, and he all of a sudden, time-traveling San Dimas dude just fall right into his lap, basically. The poor guy gets scared so hard that he doesn't even wipe. I mean, he
gets scared shitless.
Just your soul came out.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know who they're going in after. I don't really know a whole lot about New Mexico in 1879. This is the Old West. They wander into the saloon and order 2 beers. I don't know how they think they're going to pay for this in 1879 money. But
with their bodies.
They don't even get... Oh.
No, but like, this is the only time where the guys don't really know who they're going to pick. Because like, everybody else had like specific numbers and timelines and stuff. They just waltz in the saloon and just so happened Billy the Kid walks in.
And he's like, I need 2 men. And they're like, I'm your Huckleberry.
Nice.
Bringing it around town.
But this was also another one of those times where I went, what the fuck? Because he walks in yelling, I want 2 men. And they go, where are your 2 men, dude? And he's like, okay, whatever I win, I keep. Whatever you win, I keep. And he's yelling this shit. And then it cuts to them playing cards. They're like, Billy, you cheating? He's like, what, me? And it's like, shut the fuck up. You were just screaming how you were going to cheat.
Maybe they went to the saloon across the street or something. I don't know.
You think there's another saloon in that small ass town?
I mean, what else are you gonna do? The saloons are whorehouses. The whorehouses are saloons. Like, what other entertainment is there in the Old West?
The next piece of entertainment is just like break out into run-of-the-mill Western bar fight. Like people who weren't even involved in this whole shenanigan just start beating the shit out of each other.
Yep, this is some old-fashioned Old West saloon whoop-ass.
Yep. You know how old-fashioned and good old-fashioned it is? Because they beat him with a hat pull down and a wedgie.
Well, that one guy got his toe shot off, so shout out to my man Nine Toes.
That was that was through no fault of Bill or Ted or Billy the Kid. Back then, revolvers didn't have like the safety issues that they have now, where the firing pin would actually stay away from the cartridge. It would actually rest against the primer, and dropping the firearm would actually trigger an explosion in the primer and discharge the firearm. Most people back then in a 6-shooter carried 5 rounds.
Interesting. Thank you, Smith and or Wesson.
Oh no.
But then the fella's gotta get out of Dodge.
This is not Dodge. This is New Mexico.
It's Dodge.
Alright. So they skip along to what? Ancient Greece is next?
Good old Socrates. He's not Italian. I don't know what I'm doing.
This is Greek, Italian. It's all the same.
They're both salads. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Salads.
But let me tell you, when they arrive and start talking to him, he is a lot more like mild-mannered than I would expect. He doesn't seem surprised at all. He's just like, yeah, these guys that are dressed really weirdly, what is clothing other than a toga and why are they wearing it?
Dude, no one acts odd. No one. They're just like, okay, whatever.
Well, shit, by the time they get to England for the first time, they're like, hey, Billy the Kid, you're taking this whole time travel thing really lightly. Good on you. And he's like, yeah, man, thanks for the Nerf ball.
But yeah, that is a good point. Like, I don't know, movie's got a movie, and it's all in good fun. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because, all we are is dust in the wind.
And then he fucking quotes Days of Our Lives. Just like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives.
Are you sure Days of Our Lives wasn't quoting Socrates?
Ooh, plagiarism.
I'm not
I just-
sure. I think Socrates was first.
I just put my chin on my fist and gazed up at the sky in deep thought. England,
Moby Gillis.
15th century.
To cut.
Yeah, 15th century. Who are we going after this time?
I have no clue because they didn't get to go away with anybody.
Nope. They
Oh,
flubbed this one.
No, they just got to meet the princesses.
Like, was that what they were there for? Because, like, I know, like, you know, Ted had a moment. He's like, "Whoa, I'm in love."
Hashtag historical babes.
Historical babes. I get it.
I get it too, but like for some reason in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking, they're probably real smelly.
Oh.
Yeah, they probably bathed like this week.
But yeah, they see these ladies and they're like, "It's King Henry's castle. Let's sneak inside. Billy the Kid, you babysit Socrates. Here we go." And
Yeah.
instead of like having any sense, they immediately like, "How are we gonna get in? I've got a plan, bro." They put on fucking full suits of plate mail armor and hide in plain sight. Oh well, hide is a loose term because the second the guard walks by, they start screaming at the top of their lungs, "Dude" and "Bro," and start sword fighting.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's pretty much exactly what happens, yeah.
And of course, everyone's like, "Most unorthodox," and immediately tries to kill them.
Yes. Well, fucking Keanu Reeves gets knocked down a flight of stairs, makes some sad plate mail noises like, "Arr!" And then you see the plate mail at the bottom of the stairs, which you're assuming Keanu's in, get stabbed. And you're like, "Oh no, Keanu!" And Ted's all like, "Oh no, Keanu!"
And we're only like, 40 minutes into the movie, so we're like, how are they gonna fix this? Because I know he's not dead.
Apparently, he fucking just rolled out of that suit of armor in one piece like a fucking shrimp out of its shell.
Yes.
Seems legit.
Blew my fucking mind. I fell out of it, and it's like, what the fuck do you mean you fell out of it? It's like you can't fall out of it.
So he rolled out of actual armor into plot armor. Jesus
That-
Christ.
Yes.
The
Yes.
writers to shit the bed.
It blew my mind. That would be like, what happened? Oh, I fell down this flight of stairs, and all of my clothes came off. All of them.
But, I mean, they don't necessarily just, waltz away from there. They do get accosted by the important people there. They introduce themselves as the Earl of Preston and the Duke of Ted. And they don't care. They say, "Throw them in the Iron Maiden!"
You think they're about to get executed for trespassing? No, but it's really for that brief moment of homophobia when they hugged earlier.
Yes. That was such a good bit.
I actually got a big laugh at that. That's totally something that I would have said to like a friend of mine, even in the 90s.
Go.
Just wiggle your hand. Are they girls? No. Okay.
But yeah, they somehow, well, he clubs the guard, they run up the stairs, and all this is to talk to these two girls to try to ask them to prom.
Okay, like it's almost innocent and like I guess cute or whatever because like they're so dumb. That's the only thing they care about. Is just like there's no foresight or anything. That's just they're only so far ahead.
Yeah, like what's the end goals? Prom.
Not even trying to smash. They're just trying to go to prom.
And then it cuts to the opening of Skyrim.
Oh, you finally awakened.
Exactly. And they're like, "What? Dude, we're gonna get decapitated." But it's Socrates and Billy to the rescue.
Thank God. By the way, Billy the Kid has a gun. I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten out of a lot of these jams if they just hung out with Billy the Kid a little bit more.
Yeah, he could have been like Ash in Army of Darkness and just like, "This is my boomstick," and just ruled them all.
Yeah.
But I mean, arrows existed. People would have been like, "Shoot him with an arrow." It's the same thing.
Oh my God, that'd been like the best comic timing because he's like brandishing this weapon they've never seen, and he's just like, "Thwip."
Ow!
Are you thinking like Indiana Jones? Like, guy starts swinging around a big old knife?
100%. He's like, "Don't move or I'll shoot." Arrow.
Yeah, just smokes him.
I was Billy the Kid until I took an arrow to the knee.
it could have even opened the scene where he just has that like blubbering Western, just like, oh my god, tell my papa, tell.
So they do escape from there in their little TARDIS. I don't know how they get there, but they get to the future where what's his name, George Carlin is.
It's because as they were exiting that timeline, I guess the Black Knight from the Holy Grail was just like swinging that mace around and he nicked the antenna on top of it, so kind of
threw him off track.
I guess. I mean, good for them for ending up where they did, a nice, safe place where they are worshipped. They are greeted with air guitar.
So I understand, the 80s version of the future where everything is chrome is totally cool.
Witness me!
Totally cool and totally legal.
Absolutely. But like on one hand, I'm just like, wow, how could they not understand that they're like 100% loved and worshipped? But on the other hand, they were so fucking creepy.
Dude, yeah, 100%. They come lurking out of nowhere, and their greeting to them is exactly what they say back to them. Because he's like, do you have anything to say to us before you leave? He's like, yeah, be excellent.
And party on, dudes.
Speaking of partying on.
Wow! Yeah!
This is from North Park Beer Company out of San Diego, California. They label this a Mosaic lager. Ooh, smells really floral. Way more than I expected for like a lot. I don't know what I expected out of this beer, but this might end up being really good. Let's see.
Let's take a closer look.
Yeah. You don't normally get like a whole lot of that hop flavor from just like a lager, but I guess where they hopped it, pretty high with the specifically with the Mosaic hops, which are really fruity, really floral, you get a whole lot of that, and that's really nice actually. It's not that different from your basic average lager. There's not like a bitterness or like a corn flavor to it, but you do still have that Mosaic floral thing going on, and I'm into it.
Ooh.
Party on, dudes.
Speaking of parties, that's where we pick up the film there, is with Napoleon at what appears to be some sort of birthday party, enjoying ice cream, perhaps Napoleon ice cream. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. See what I did there?
You mean Neapolitan?
Neapolitan?
Shut up, it's Napoleon ice cream.
All right.
Blow them up.
Of course, this is the first time he's ever had ice cream. It's a treat that didn't exist way back in the day when he's, pillaging Austria for all the Austrians. Anyways, so, this guy, short stature, pot belly, goes to town on this giant mound of ice cream. Not only eating pretty much all of it, but being totally cool about being the Ziggy Piggy.
I don't know. I think he looked a little bit ticked off there, just a little bit offended, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Tabernacle.
Un bâton.
Omelette du fromage.
There it is. Let's wait on it.
Vienna, Austria, 1901. Sigmund Freud walks out on the street. Bill and Ted arrive in a TARDIS. They step out with a lasso. Extra credit! Kidnap a man.
Yeah, they're just catching all of them, going back, just everyone that they've heard of, they're going back and just capturing.
Dude, they pick up
it's like Pokemon.
While he's on his bench and just walk off with him.
Just yoink. And everyone else in the room just like, huh, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Joan of Arc is literally praying for a sign from God. A fucking magical phone booth materializes before her. Of course she's going to go with these guys. She's like, yes, you God, yes? And they're like, yeah!
Excellent!
It was great because, she was like, oh, merci.
By the way, Joan of Arc, cute as fuck, am I right?
She is very attractive.
Yeah.
Dude, she is 100% about that jazzercise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cut to Outer Mongolia, 1209, and we get Genghis Khan. Did you guys recognize Genghis Khan?
Is he the bad guy from Die Hard?
Yes, he is the bad guy from Die Hard, Big Trouble, Little China, Lethal Weapon, and you may remember him from such starring roles as Last Action Hero. He's Ice Cream Cone to the Back of the Head Man.
Oh man, someone coned his phrase.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out, they caught up to Genghis Khan mid-rape, maybe pre-rape.
I mean, she was a concubine. At that point, she's just accepted her fate. Rape was maybe 2 or 3 months ago. At this point, it's just a chore.
Tuesdays, am I right?
White House, 1863. Snatch him up, and now the fucking phone booth is flying sideways.
Yeah, they got too many people in there.
Yeah, it's more of like a time-traveling canoe at this point, because I feel like somewhere in the middle of making this movie, they realized they can't fit anybody else in this prop, so it's like, well, what do we do? That's a good
Make
idea.
another movie called Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, you could fit way more people into a hot tub and make it sexy.
Ooh.
Dang. Remember that time Crispin Glover got his arm cut off? Yeah, me too.
Oh, it just makes me think of the bit in Total Recall. See you at the party, Richter.
I just realized, like, what kind of fucking line is that?
You know, I don't know. It's not even. It doesn't make sense.
So before we go back to San Dimas, California, we get a glimpse of Napoleon being a dick.
But he's totally not. He's just trying to, like, I don't want to say, like, soak up San Dimas, but, like, he's just trying to bowl. He sucks at it.
He's cheating. He's a cheater.
Because that's the Napoleon complex. He hates losing. You know, he does not like to lose. So he goes to fucking bowl. He wipes out. He goes back to his thing, and his score sucks. So he just tries to sneak that little extra 100 points. Nobody's gonna notice 100 points.
It's not a big deal. And then Uncle Rico walks in and goes, "Hey, Napoleon, it's your football over the mountains. Sucker blue."
Yeah, so the little brother just leaves him. It's just like, fuck off, Napoleon.
Yeah, and then he gets fucking kicked out because he can't pay for it. And I don't want to ever see you around here again. And he's all alone in this big new world.
It was a little bit of like a sad moment because, you know, he's this general. He's like this, you know, he's this important dude. And all he has is like his broken hat now and his cane, and he just tries to adjust himself like, you know, everything's fine. I'm not worried.
You know what would have sold this fucking scene like over the top? As he got threw out and he stood up and he's just all alone in the world. If it was like, everybody hurts.
Did that song come out yet? This was 1989.
They could have time traveled, whatever.
Exactly. Get with it.
I like how every excuse in this movie is just, because time travel.
Yeah.
Travel.
It's pretty refreshing because, like, you know, you don't have to think about rules or anything or timelines or what could be like the harsh possibilities of altering said timelines. Just like, they did this.
Yeah, they'll go forward in time and then fix it back in time.
Yeah, because how did they fix the antenna?
Yeah.
They gathered up and used cans from the fucking Pleistocene era. Where did they get the cans?
Ted had a backpack full of snacks. So those are the pudding cans.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Thanks for tying that together. I didn't get that.
Okay. Like, I was honestly confused by the scene. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah, because we have that moment where, like, they realize, like, this thing is broken beyond repair, so they haphazardly travel from San Dimas, 80,000 BC or whatever, or, like,
1 billion BC.
Where the Geico cavemen are just hanging out, whatever, just fucking doing some car insurance.
Yeah, those are definitely the Geico cavemen. For sure.
They then travel to San Dimas last night to pad the runtime.
This is when they get wacky.
Well, no, I think you kind of have to, I don't know, like, little bit, you kind of have to go back and explain why they were there in the first place, or I guess the second place.
Well, okay, so I actually had a little bit of a think about this because I thought at first, like, this stuff needed to happen because everything before that, like collecting all these shiny people from history, like, it was very easy. Like, they had very little trouble besides the almost decapitation, mulligan, whatever. So I realized that their report is on those particular historical figures and what they think of present-day San Dimas. So that was their way of just, like, showing them around just by taking them to the mall. You know, because that's their whole world. That's what they think of San Dimas.
Huh. Well, at least someone was paying attention in history class.
Okay, fine. That's the power of love. Next.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the fucking TARDIS lands in the middle of the yard, cutting off the hose to Missy watering some flowers. Missy, meet the guys. They all have these ridiculous names.
Oh, yeah.
I cared about until Socrates stepped out. He's like, and this is Socrates Johnson. And I don't know why, but Socrates Johnson made me lose my shit. This was my first and only real fucking laugh in this movie, and I was almost in tears over Socrates Johnson.
You know why? Because it totally sounds like some bullshit custom character that you made.
Yeah, like Socrates Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. And like he tried that with like all the fellas, like Socrates Johnson, and like James Beethoven, yada yada yada, and then like at the end, like, oh yeah, and Abraham Lincoln.
He's just like, ma'am, and she's like, oh, okay, nice to meet all you guys. No big deal whatsoever.
Probably just thought they were like LARPers or something.
Was that a thing?
Probably. I don't know. Like, I know D&D was a thing in the 80s. I'm sure LARPing wasn't too far behind it.
Well, LARPing was probably around, probably not on the wide screen, or the, the big. Never mind. Don't worry about it. But yeah, guess what? Chores. Hilarity does not ensue.
It's just a little 80s style montage of all these guys cleaning up the house. Because old stepmom won't take them anywhere until they get the house clean.
I understand. Like, it's a movie where they're perpetually running out of time and they're kind of like stuck doing chores. Haha, but whatever. Like, I just feel like they're just like, hey, we need a montage, and then that's the best they got.
Yeah. Don't talk back.
My favorite part of this montage actually is Sigmund Freud helping with the vacuuming, and like with Sigmund Freud, there's all of these phallic references, like not in this, but like, that's Freudian slips. And he sees the host of the vacuum, and I don't remember what gets caught in there, but like, I don't know. It was just like a little subtle thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was his face, because he was just like, oh, it's sucking on the pillow. Wait a minute, what if I just... And he died.
Rip in peace, Sigmund Freud.
Well, on that same page, we were discussing it briefly, Chandler, but we just have to bring up the corn dog.
Yep, that too. That was another one.
Because that was just so... I don't want to call it clever. I'll just say subtle.
Yeah, so he's going to I guess he's trying to pick up these women at the mall, and he's got this corn dog that he just bought from the hot dog on a stick place, I assume. And he starts out, very stout and erect with the corn dog. And as you can tell that they are not interested, you see the corn dog just start to dip down.
Now, that's a good bit, and I really thought it was funny that Billy the Kid was more like Billy the Creep. So crazy, so fucking horn dogging over these two teenage girls. It was like, what the fuck?
Like, first of all, those women didn't even make sense. They're like, oh my god, he's got a toga.
That guy has a firearm. Like, no one said anything.
Okay, so they went to this mall, and each one of them go to their favorite store. Beethoven goes to the music store. Genghis Khan goes to the sporting goods store and starts whacking everything with a baseball bat. And aside from Genghis Khan, I don't know why everybody really got in trouble.
Well, Abe Lincoln got accused of thievery because the stupid guy who took his picture, who probably, who clearly would have, escorted him to, the photo booth knowing that he had all that stuff on.
Right.
Joan, the gym, she assaulted the lady. She knocked her off the platform and took over.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Welcome to Jazzercise for Jesus. Joan of Arc presented.
Yeah. But she was doing a good job up there. I mean, it was probably worth it.
Beethoven got in trouble because clearly he was playing Stairway to Heaven when the sign on the door said, no Stairway to Heaven.
I just like the fact that there was a guy who tried to show Beethoven a pre-recorded thing on the synthesizer, and the man's deaf. 10 out of 10.
Beethoven seemed to enjoy it, though.
I think he was just trying to play along yeah, thanks, pal. Wink. Insert concerto or whatever.
Now, Genghis Khan, he gets everyone basically arrested and booked because he goes fucking ham in a sports store with a skateboard and a baseball bat.
He just couldn't contain himself, I guess.
I get it. I see those mannequins. I want to bust them up. Looking at me like that, bitch.
It's got that big old Ken bulge just making people feel inferior.
I mean, just a pud.
Now, they have to go find Napoleon, and that's why these guys have went on the rampage. They were left to their own devices. Bill and Ted were like, bro, dude, where could we find Napoleon? Of course, he's going to be at the water park, Olean.
Waterloo.
Whoa, that joke wrote itself.
And man, oh man, putting a grown adult inside of a white see-through bathing suit.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was like, wait a minute. Like, I understand that like those are his undergarments, but like as an actor, I hope to God there's something under that.
And he's just like, oh, I love to do water slides. And they're like, no, bro, you can do a report. And he's like, I guess.
Oh my God, I just see him in line, and there's this poor kid just staring at his crotch crying. He's like, what? That's just mine baguette.
Do not look at my fromage.
Oh.
Ew.
Sacre bleu.
And it's gonna, they all get arrested, so Bill and Ted have to save them from jail. But in the meantime, we're also getting these, like, cuts back to everyone else giving reports. And, man, did I not care.
Well, I was gonna say, like, did it kind of bring you back? When we all had to like present some oral whatever for class, and you had that person who's like, revered as intelligent by everybody, but like all their fucking stuff is just boring and just flavorless. And then you had like the jock guy who's just like, I'm trying real hard not to crash and burn. San Dimas football rules, woo! And wins the crowd over just like that.
Wayside High rules, woo! Fuck you, Mr. Belvedere. But yeah, now they're at the police station, and they gotta free everybody. Well, how do they do it? Well, they can't because number one, I know we just kind of glazed over it, but fucking Keanu Reeves' character's dad is a fucking asshole, like straight fucking asshole. The kid never even gets a chance. Like, this dude is out to get him. He's like, you're a failure. Fuck you. I want you out of my house. And he's like, whoa, I just want to smoke weed and play guitar, Dad.
We are given no inclination that either of these two guys are stoners. They never reference it ever. They just want to play some fucking heavy metal, man.
I'm going to say to keep PG-13 rating, these kids are stoners.
This was a PG.
You know what? Like, what other reason would you have a teenager just filled with his backpack full of pudding?
All right, that's fair.
How stoked would you be if you were on like a completely different fucking level and your buddy's just like, dude, snack pack.
Yeah.
Everything in that backpack is so triumphant.
Bro.
Speaking of most triumphant, this is the most triumphant jailbreak I've ever seen in my life. These kids literally snap their finger time travel kind of thing to get what they want and just break out everyone with zero issues.
I mean, the movie is exactly 90 minutes, so I bet they were just like, listen, whatever.
How do they get out? They get out.
Through the window, obviously.
They just do, man. Pass me the snack pack. Fuck.
Exactly. But now, the teacher's like there, everyone's giving the reports. Bill and Ted didn't show up. He's like, all right, I guess you guys get to leave early since our last two presenters didn't show up. And he's got it marked down for an F. And then all of a sudden, the lights go dim. Fucking music blares up. Lights start going crazy. I don't know when they had time to set up all this light show and shit, but apparently they did.
It's okay, they have a time machine.
True. Fuck, you got me there. Damn it. They got a 1980 World Tour Rockstar intro for each character. And boys, walk me through it.
Oh man, there's so much. How much time do they have here? When does school let out?
Was this during school time? Because like their presentation was at 2:45.
Yeah.
Well, each individual, character from history, they have their own little vignette of like, what they think of San Dimas. Well, except for Billy the Kid, he's basically just the MC.
Yeah. How was life in the Old West? We died.
But there were whores.
Top 5.
Viewers.
Yeah.
So each character gets their own little bit, and again, the only real thought-provoking funny bit was with Freud. He's basically talking about how Keanu's father is putting all of his personal fears and issues onto his son, which is, creating a complex for Keanu. He's like, whoa, what about you, Ted? And Ted goes, no, man, I just got kind of like an Oedipus complex. And then it cuts to Missy.
That was good. It was a great line, great delivery
Yeah.
too. But like, I totally thought the movie was going to go through all this just so they can cut to his dad and have his dad realize, like, oh man, I'm kind of a cunt. But no, like every time they like show him, he just has this like fucking hell of a stink face, just like, I'm gonna fucking beat shit out of this kid when this is over.
I thought that he was getting a redemption arc right there too. Like this would be his moment of clarity, but it wasn't.
No, he's just a shithead.
I mean, I honestly don't even really know, like, did he say, like, hey, good job? Or was it just like, all right, I guess you don't have to go to Alaska. I bought you this airplane ticket to Alaska. I guess, fuck it.
Nothing. He said nothing.
Yeah, I feel like he's the kind of guy who's just like, shit's expensive. You're going to Alaska anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck you, get out of my house. That's just what was going to happen.
Tell me how the polar bears are.
Yeah. They get their A pluses, and then Rufus shows up, and he's like, congratulations, I brought you whores.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, hey, congratulations on your history report. Here, have some bitches.
They do not plan this, because the women show up, and they're like, okay, princesses, tiny kiss, we're instant couples. These women, number one, are displaced in history. Number two, where the fuck are they going to stay?
At the Ziggy Piggy.
Shut your goddamn mouth. But yeah, it's weird. And then all of a sudden it's like, guess what? Let's jam out, guys. George Carlin makes a sick lick on the guitar, and the Wild Stallions like, let's play. You too, princesses, because you're part of the band too. And they're like, cool, I guess I've played instruments before. And they sound like...
This time George Carlin's like, huh, well, you sound a little better.
Oh, well, after they start playing and it's terrible, he turns right to the camera. They do get better. And that's the end of the fucking movie.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's a movie where, like, I know it's not serious, but there's, like, a little bit of wholesomeness in there. So, it's a good watch.
If you enjoy Wayne's World, Dude, Where's My Car, any kind of, like, high school stoner, like, fucking Detroit Rock City...
Ooh.
Any kind of high school
Don't you dare compare this to Detroit Rock City. That is the quintessential fucking like high school kids movie.
Dude, I fucking love Detroit Rock City.
Yes.
But if you like any of those, I imagine you'll probably like this if you are not Brady.
Listen, I wanted it to be excellent. The energy and the message are fucking good. No one puts in a bad performance. None of the acting is shit. The sets were really cool. Like, everything you saw was, it looked good. None of the special effects were terrible. The soundtrack suited it well. To me, it was just meh. It never pulled me in, and I found myself, on my phone a couple of times, not out of, like, hate for the film, but just I didn't have a huge interest.
Maybe you'd be in a better mood for, like, a bogus journey instead.
Mayhaps.
Hey, you know what? On that note... That was our Bill and Ted Talk. Thanks for tuning in. See us next week. If you have any strong feelings about this movie or the podcast, leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to hit that little bell icon too, so you know next time we've got another one of these partying on.
Get out there and check out our social medias. We got that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. We got an awesome administrator traveling back and forth through time to get you new content. And if you don't want to check it out, then we'll travel to the past, recruit a group of historical figures, and then kind of do nothing.
Ziggy Piggy.